Welcome to Larry's Treehouse. My name is Larry. Today I will talk about decluttering for freedom. Before that, I would like to express my gratitude to my friends in Twitter. During the time of during the first half of this year, 2022, they give me a lot of suggestions about stock trading, especially when we deal with stock price fluctuation and unpredictable market sentiment. From the time on, I go myself on decluttering in order to tidy up my inner self, and so I grow myself through decluttering and sell all those stuffs in secondhand market. And I also add this suggestion to my first English YouTube video, Introduction to Decluttering. They found my suggestion very useful. They thanked me a lot, and from the sense of their replies and the joyfulness, I feel they have achieved better lifestyle and self-discipline. So in this video, it echoes to my feeling when I do decluttering successfully, and also it gives me better performance in stock trading. So in this video, I will talk about two major things. One is why I personally go decluttering for the God's sake, and second, how decluttering achieves my personal freedom, both externally and internally. I personally go decluttering not just simply throwing all the stuff away, or cutting off the unwanted relationships, recover from breakups, etc. I do this because I have a strong objective. Due to my personal career, I personally have a better chance to move into United States due to my career concern. But when it comes to if my boss go rent pitching to investor not well, it resorts to me. It will direct me to apply working visa of the United Kingdom. Yes, I predict the future of working in Hong Kong is getting worse. Business opportunity is getting smaller and smaller due to COVID restrictions and the political uncertainty. And hence, so I make up my mind to prepare myself, getting more money first, and then migrate to other country, migrate elsewhere. But before that, three things we need to achieve first. That is, you have got a pretty solid and versatile plans in terms of in how to get freelance jobs, passive income, and also more importantly, self-discipline. Because whenever you stay in Hong Kong or move into other countries, you still need three great quantities and characteristics in order to survive. That is self-discipline, faith, and communicate with inner self. Because especially if you migrate to other countries, you are not going to live in with families, at least for a couple of years, of course. You need all your living expense, where you eat, how you eat, the way to commute to the workplace, to live, where we live. All those you need to handle by one person. Yeah, you actually take an earlier time and opportunity to accustom myself to living in solitude, and hence self-discipline is pretty important. So in order to strengthen my self-discipline, so that I could be a better person and get prepared to be better to be a better we can survive in other countries, especially other countries are suffering greatly from stagflation and also called the climate lockdowns. Yes. So when we do under those when I undergoes decluttering, that means during those doing some rituals, tidy the stuff, saying a namaste to stuff accompanying with me. That means we are going to handle our personal relationship, to let go some affection in order to tidy up our thing, in how to tidy up the stuff outside and also inside our hearts. It also we can gain personal freedom in decluttering. When it comes, so I do this for the God's sake, not just throwing all the stuffs, because doing decluttering means you need to. So that means while you are doing decluttering, we need to ask ourselves one question: what is your bigger aim? What is your personal objective? Because decluttering for decluttering is simply throwing all the stuff away. You will get nothing, but you will be happy. This is the only the World Economic Forum or the mainstream media tells you what you want to do. We are not doing this, okay? We only do decluttering simply because we want to live our own style with confidence and pride. So how could we achieve this for freedom? First we need to define what is freedom in nowadays, how we should see freedom, and how should we view on freedom. In the old days, when we talk about freedom, we often address the people fight back when the government did something wrong and unreasonable, such as mandatory vaccination, mask mandate. The farmers need to cut off the cattle in order to fulfill so-called nitrogen reduction. This is not making any sense, right? Because it's our own living. We have to address freedom in the textbook or having the history lessons. We often talk about the American people, English teach at the peers of the Boston when we talk about American Revolution, and we also mention how the people escape from the Bastille prison when we talk about French Revolution. In other words, we often have the common conception that freedom comes in a way when there's external oppressive force, and easily to be seen, of course, of the force oppressing us instead of how it oppressing us. But this concept of freedom should be changed. We should see this difference. During 2 years of COVID hysteria and the group humiliation under different races, ethnicity, or sexual orientation, or even some random topics, we often define ourselves as and theirs, and we seem to are getting lost in how the people how people others see me instead of how I look upon ourselves. So I think the conceptually speaking, freedom should be defined as the capabilities and willingness to live in our own way. To living in our own ways, when we are talking about two perspectives, external perspective and internal perspective. We talk about external first, right? that is the external perspective of freedom. That is how we react to the other news and others speaking. Whenever what our objectives first, what our lifestyle we want to achieve, we often follows one principle is plan, do, check, act. This is a business cycle we talk about in the business world. We talk about how the business should adapt to the market changes and survive. But this cycle also applies to our personal lifestyle first. Because when we are doing the plans, if we execute so decluttering plans, when we tidy up the things, we categorize the stuff. We are not just doing those stuff. We are not only throwing all those stuffs away, throwing all away unwanted stuffs. We practice our rituals to throw away unwanted rendering minds what makes you feel what confuse us. And this ritual is pretty important for us because it gives a way and scenario and gives a rituals and a scenario for us to communicate with our inner self. That is how the decluttering can drive us to internal perspective. If by tidying the stuff and we can communicate with our inner self, because when we're picking up the things, we go our brain, our minds will go flashback to the past memories, past relationships, and past people. But only yourself can define yourself. So you may ask oneself for the current day. So do you need a ex-girlfriend's presence or ex-family stuff or etc. You need to ask yourself. Only yourself can define yourself by. So when all those stuffs. So when they are dealing with while doing tidying all those stuffs, it is normal for us to embrace different aspects of ourselves, different characters, especially in some Japanese anime from the American cartoons called Inside Out. The main characters we should deal with the different emotions. Essentially, it's part of different parts of the characters of the one female or the one girl or one boy. I don't remember. But the most important is that while we tidy up the stuff, we try to communicate with different parts of ourselves. And if we make it as a habit, not just do this for one single ad hoc task, we do this regularly, and we view ourselves regularly, then we can refine ourselves into better me, better ego, and we can achieve greater things. I hope this video will be fruitful for us and fruitful for you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.